Hello. In the next few weeks, we'll be taking a break from our usual European hiking trips and telling you all about our recent Inca Trail trip. I had never been to South America, and we were looking for something a little different. My mom found some really cheap tickets to Peru, a place my parents had done a mission trip to about 15 years ago. The Inca Trail is by no means easy, so we knew we had to prepare well and pack carefully. This is how we got ready for the Inca Trail.
Once we decided to go on a hiking trip in Peru, I started researching tour companies. In order to hike the Inca Trail, you must go on a guided tour that includes guides, porters, and cooks. After researching all the major tour companies, I decided on the 3-night, 4-day hike with Alpaca Expeditions. I chose Alpaca Expeditions due to the fact that they were locally owned, had great reviews, and treat their staff well. They've also been at the forefront of the introduction of women guides and porters onto the trail. As we learned more about the trail by reading and watching videos, 3 things became clear. We needed to get there early to get used to the altitude, we needed to practice climbing up and down stairs, and we needed to pack very carefully.
The Inca Trail is never flat. It features long ascents and descents and extremely long stretches of Peruvian flat, which is basically where you alternate between going up and down.
Molly trained hard all fall with her cross-country team, so she was ready for whatever the trail offered. But Pablo and I needed to practice the stairs. We found a local 6-story parking garage and started making weekly trips to walk its stairs. We made it up and down 12 times on our first visit in August and worked our way up to 50 times by mid-November. By doing this stair training, along with regular walking and running, we got as physically prepared as we could be.
The other thing we spent a lot of time preparing and refining was our packing. Now we are ready to share what we brought and how we would change our packing list. So we'd like to start with telling you about the pack that we both used for this trip. It is the Maya 20 from Gregory, and I think that we both really liked it. We had some trouble getting it to fit perfectly at first, but we got that sorted out pretty quick. We also really liked that it had a stuff sack here for like our layers when we wanted to take them off quickly, and the water bottle things were really stretchy so they could hold our 1-liter bottles.
Yep, this was a great pocket right here. I kept like my sunglasses, some ibuprofen, credit card, all that stuff in this front pocket, so that was handy.
And then the main pocket is very large for a 20-liter backpack, and we were able to fit everything pretty comfortably.
Yeah, wait, there's a little zipper pocket here, and I kept our travel insurance information and our passes for the trail in that pocket.
And then in the back, there's a thin pocket that you can stuff like gloves and hat in, and it goes all the way down. And the reason that we needed a 20-liter pack was that in Machu Picchu, they do not allow packs larger than 25 liters. No one was checking, but our tour agency told us that, and so we were ready.
So on the first day of the hike, it's typically pretty warm, and so I just started the hike in kind of an exercise t-shirt and some of these zip-off hiking pants. These pants are about 10 years old, and I should have tried them on before I left because the elastic in the waistband was kind of shot. So all day the first day, I was having to hold my pants up with my hands in my pocket. So try your clothes on before you leave because that was embarrassing. What did I take with me? So the night before you go, there's a briefing. And at the briefing, they told us you need a different shirt for every day. We're used to the Camino where you only take 2 or 3 shirts for 36 days and you just wash it every night. Here on the Inca Trail, nothing's going to dry. It's cold at night. There are no clotheslines. There's no way you're going to dry anything, and you sweat a lot.
And there's no way to wash anything either.
Yeah. So you do actually need a different shirt for every day. And we were not expecting that. So we had to go out at 8:30 the night before the hike and race around Cusco. And the two of us each had to find a hiking shirt. One difference between hiking the Camino and hiking the Inca Trail is that a porter is going to carry your clothes. So you carry in your day pack what you're going to need during the day, and then you get 4 kilograms of stuff that a porter will carry for you. And for us, that was every single thing we did not need during the day. So what clothes did I take? I took a pair of pants to change into at night. What did you take for the nighttime?
I took a pair of pants very similar to those, but I ended up wearing them on the third day. So,
because it was so wet on day 2. Yeah. I'm super glad that I took this. This is something I would not take on the Camino, for example, but I'm super glad that I took these because most nights when we got to our tent, we were wet. And so you did not want to put on anything that you had been wearing, so it was nice to have something. And these are long pants, which I was also grateful for because it was cold at night.
especially at that second campsite,
Yeah,
it was freezing.
it was literally freezing there. So I took that pair of pants. I took one pair of just regular shorts. I ended up wearing these days 2, 3, and 4 because, again, the waist problem that I had with the other pants that I took. So these are just black Patagonia hiking shorts.
I took running shorts and basically for the same reason, and they worked really well.
Yeah. And when I was cold, I just put on my rain pants on top of that, which worked out great because it was usually raining.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took one long sleeve exercise shirt. I wore this a lot. And then I had 3 extra shirts. For that, I kept all of those in a packing cube just so that they were easily organized. And when you're in the tent, especially, we had to pack up super fast in the morning. I mean, we would have like 15 minutes from go time to be out of the tent. So having everything really well organized was great. As far as underwear, that kind of stuff, I just took 1 bra and 3 pair of underwear. All of that was wool, icebreaker, or smart wool. 3 pair of darn tough socks that were tall because we wore boots. And that's all the underwear or anything like that that I took. As far as outerwear, so these are waterproof gloves. And it said to bring waterproof gloves, and we took waterproof gloves to Cusco. It was hot in Cusco, and we made the brilliant decision to not bring these on the hike because we didn't think we would need them. That was a mistake. Bring your waterproof gloves. It's a lot hotter in Cusco than it is on the Inca Trail.
A lot.
Yeah. Then I took 2 hats. I took a lightweight baseball cap for when it was sunny, and then I got this little stocking cap in Cusco. So I took this for when it was cold. And these things look silly, but I'll tell you, everybody wears these on the trail, and it's very fun, and I'm glad I have it now because I'm going to be walking around the neighborhood in this baby.
And also, it is very warm.
Yeah, it's surprisingly warm considering it's thin.
It's very thin and very, very warm.
Yeah. So that was one of the souvenirs I bought on the trip. I did not take a heavy coat with me. I took a fleece sweatshirt and then this thin puffy vest. And that was good enough. I think that was enough. A lot of people in our group did have thick puffies. And then I took my trusty favorite rain pants.
In the correct size.
And yep, they were actually my rain pants, not my husband's. And then I took my raincoat. And these are both waterproof. And I wore these a lot.
One thing is, like, on the Camino, a lot of times if you have to wear your rain gear, you are sweating profusely under it because it's raining, but it's also hot and humid. Whereas on this, our rain gear was half the time just for warmth. And if it was raining, You were probably still cold even with your rain gear and every layer you brought.
Yeah, and I kept this in my pack. Something to keep in mind is that the porters are going to be carrying your clothes and some of your layers, but they do not carry them in waterproof sacks, and it rained a lot. So everything that we took, we each had our own waterproof sack, and we carried it in that. So those things would have been in my backpack like this. These things were in my waterproof sack. So when I got to camp at night, this stuff was warm and it was dry. Very, very important because the porter bags are not waterproof. Another thing to comment about the backpack is that these backpacks do not come with rain covers. We didn't worry about that because we knew we were going to get rain covers from Alpaca Expeditions. But we learned that those Alpaca Expedition rain covers are not waterproof. So I would definitely recommend bringing your own rain cover so your pack can stay dry, and then you can put theirs on top of that.
Two things that were very important to our enjoyment of the trail were these handy little paper products of toilet paper and tissues. Our noses were running so much.
Especially yours, you had a cold.
Yes, I had a cold, that was fun. But since we were at higher altitude, our noses were like fountains. And the toilet paper is not something you'll see a lot, especially in this quality.
Yeah, take your own toilet paper.
Take your own toilet paper. And we had to keep it in this waterproof sack because you don't want that getting wet.
And
it's not very useful in that case.
Right. You also need to bring something to pack your toilet paper out in, which we did bring a Ziploc bag.
Our camp had a little toilet tent.
Thank God.
Thank God, yes. But often they ran out of toilet paper quite quickly because they were having to supply 16 people with
or it would
paper.
get wet.
So Alpaca Expeditions rented sleeping bags and sleeping pads for $10 each item per person. So
and we rented those.
yes, and we found that very useful because they were sleeping bags rated for the right temperature, and we didn't have to carry. So we brought sleeping bag liners.
So this was good. We would take this again.
It was definitely a win.
Again, must be in your waterproof sack. You don't want this if it's wet.
Chargers and a charging bank. Surprisingly, there is nowhere to plug in your USB charger on the side of a mountain. So,
in the middle of nowhere.
Right. So we brought our own power banks fully charged, and we also brought our phone and watch chargers, just one for, like, one of each for both of us. Because
we shared everything.
We shared everything.
So, waterproof sack.
Yes. So, sunglasses were another big one. It's gonna rain 1 minute, and then 5 minutes later, you will be sunburned. You won't know how you got sunburned.
It's high altitude, so the sun is really strong.
Yes. Every single person in our group had a headlamp. And it wasn't just for the last day when you had to get up really early and walk to be at the gate first or under the cover or whatever you were aiming for. Going to the bathroom in the dark is very difficult. So,
headlamp's worth its weight in gold.
yes.
Also, just seeing in your tent when it gets dark, and it got dark pretty early. So valuable.
Yeah, especially because that was able to stay charged the whole time.
Yeah,
whereas our
did.
phones, the battery ran really fast.
Yeah.
Yep. So the wallet, obviously very useful to pay for things. We needed cash mainly for bathrooms for the first couple days of the trail when there was bathrooms.
And those bathrooms, you pay $1 sole for them, and it is debatable whether that was worth it.
Yeah, I don't think it was worth it. Most of them were not toilets.
I had a credit card with me. Obviously, I never used that. I did use it, I think, once we arrived at Machu Picchu to get a snack.
And then also on the last day, we needed cash to tip our porters and chefs, which that's a very important part of the trail experience because they do so much for you, and it's nice to be able to pay them back at the end.
Yep.
So you need to have cash for that. And trekking poles.
You cannot do the Inca Trail without trekking poles.
I always hike with one, but I think on the Inca Trail I would have benefited from having both. And another thing to note that is required for your trekking poles are rubber tips.
Yeah, you have to have rubber tips or you can't use them.
And you need to bring extras because some of the days on the Inca Trail are really muddy and your tips can get stuck.
Yeah, Molly lost a tip along the way.
I did. I lost my only tip.
Fortunately, I had an extra. So the last part we're going to talk about are all the accessories that we took, starting with the GoPro, and I did take with me an extra GoPro battery and a memory card. I only needed my GoPro battery and one extra. We never had to recharge this. We always take extra Ziploc bags. We used these for taking out toilet paper that we had used. We didn't really need these a lot more on the trip. I think we had some snacks in these.
Also, Ziplocs are like mostly waterproof, which was very helpful.
Yeah. We each took our phone. We used our phones. Obviously, we had our phones on airplane mode the entire time we were in Peru. But we did use them for taking pictures and videos. So that was useful. Toiletries, very minimal. You don't need a lot. We always share toiletries on these trips. A small toothpaste, it's 4 days. A small toothpaste, each of our toothbrush, a little deodorant.
A brush because your hair by the 4th day of not being washed.
There's no washing your hair. So there's no washing your hair, so the brush is critical. We kind of went with braided hair as much as we could just to contain it. Sunscreen is very important. I actually kept this in my pack.
These bug repellent wipes were also very important. They stayed in the pack at all times.
Yeah.
They normally warn you when you're going into a section with a lot of bugs, so you knew when to apply.
Days 3 and 4, especially buggy. There's no shower on the Inca Trail. That's probably obvious, but there's not. So the wilderness wipes were worth their weight in gold.
Yes.
They do bring you at the end of each day with Alpaca Expeditions, they bring you a little tub of warm water, and we relished that warm water. There were days, day 2, I was looking forward to that little tub of warm water, and then by the time we got it, it was cold because we were so late getting to camp. But that's useful, but without the wilderness wipes, we would have been rank. So these things are really golden. We had both the big and little ones. And then the last section of stuff that we took were, of course, our medicines. We had split up. The toiletries went with the porters, but Molly, I think, carried all the Kleenex and toilet paper and stuff for us, and I carried all of our medicines. We just had stuff split up in our packs and our day packs. The porter's super trustworthy. You're going to get your stuff, but, you know, your medicines, it just makes sense to keep those with you. So we did.
One last little note about phone case colors. So my phone is like very light colored and I have a clear case, and my mom's phone case is bright yellow. So we did not have problems with losing our phones, but a lot of people there had black phone cases, and the sleeping bags they rented out were black. And when it was dark in the morning, they could not find their phones. They were just hoping they were in their backpack.
And then the last thing we should talk about are the water bottles. About 4 days before we left, we got a message from Alpaca Expeditions, and it said that you could not use plastic water bottles on the Inca Trail. And this is the type of water bottle that we usually use when we're hiking. So suddenly, we couldn't use these. That's what I understood. This is plastic. It said you couldn't use plastic water bottles on the trail. So I already had this metal one. So I just was like, I'll take that. Well, this weighs about 4 times as much as that, but it is not plastic, so that's what I took. We got there and they still said you could not use plastic, but you needed 2 liters of water each. So we went out and we each bought these lightweight little metal water bottles the night before. We paid about $15 each for these. So they weren't cheap. I like it. I'm not upset that I bought it, but in reality, we could have used this in the first place because what they actually meant was no single-use plastic bottles on the trail.
We hope this video was both helpful and entertaining for anyone who is interested in taking on the Inca Trail. Please keep in mind that while we took this trip in the rainy season, the weather is reasonably similar all year and is more dependent on the terrain than the season. Packing and preparation are different for every person, but hopefully our experiences provide guidelines for anyone needing somewhere to start. Enjoy your Inca Trail! Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.